Hey, you there. Thank you for watching and welcome to Forge Lines Forever. Today I have a 4v4 ladder match here on the map Lana or LANAE, depending on how you pronounce it. Is not a map generator map, so hopefully everybody enjoys it. And we'll start with introductions on the northwest side of the map with Team 1, also known as the blue team. And we'll end with Team 2 in the southeast, also known as the red team. Starting off with Team 1, let's go southern side. We have it in Tropical Ocean Blue. It is the UEF of Zelbian Lykob. He is a 1669 rated player, again playing as a UEF to his north in Royal Blue. It is the Seraphim of RNA. He is an 1859 rated, the highest rated player on Team 1. To his northeast, we have the two compacted players together. We have, firstly, it is Mass with two A's. He is a Seraphim as well. He is a 1388 in Stitch Blue. And then rounding out Team 1, we have the Cybrid of Anden. He is an Amethyst Purple as a 1314 rated. So for Team 1 side of the map for faction makeup, they have 1 UEF, 1 Cybrin, 0 Aeon, and 2 Seraphim. Take a look at Team 2's northern side. We'll start with the light oak tan player of the Alpha. He is a Cybrin for this match as a 1466 rated. To his south in Chevy Crimson, we have the UEF of Drimmer. He is a 2169 rated player, the highest rated player on Team 2 and in the game overall by about 300 points of rating. Again, he is a UEF. Southwest of him, we have the one and only Aeon of the map. It is Looper Cat. Looper Call. Sorry, excuse me. He is a 1287 rated in Ruby Red, again, as an Aeon, the one and only of the game. And last but not least, right next door to him, already on his way to the west side of the map, it is Gobble Gobble playing as a UEF. He is a 1210 rated, again, in orange, the color orange. So for Team 2 side of the map, they have 2 UEF, 0 Cybrin, 1 Aeon, again, the one and only of the game. Actually, they have 1 Cybrin and 0 Seraphim. So 2 UEF, 1 Cybrin, 1 Aeon, and 0 Seraphim, which means all the factions are represented in the game, just not on each side of the map. And take a look at this 8-player game. Let's take a look at the reclaim situation. Currently sitting at it's 8,000 mass. It makes the math a little bit easy. 8 players, 8,000 mass, 1,000 mass per player. The majority of it isn't really that easy to distinguish because there's kind of just a splattering of it kind of in this really oval shaped environment. There's a little bit, I guess there's a 600 clump there and a 600 clump there, but besides the mass next door to the players, pretty much the majority of it does reside kind of this really weird elongated section of the map that I highlighted. I will note that there are a lot of civilian structures or AI structures, depending on if it's being controlled by the QAI. We have in the southwest a couple of just civilian structures as well as some PD here. We also have north of that another section of PD and a couple of PGens hanging out there. We do see a T2 Cerberus PD shooting at Zelby's comm. That's not fun for him. He was trying to just build the Team 1 mix. And in the middle of the map, there is a Quantum Gateway with a decent amount of civilian structures and some Cybrin QAI mainframes, a couple of PGens. There's a lot of stuff here. There's also a Hive in there as well, a couple of them actually. So it's definitely worth going after, and a shield emplacement. I feel like this is the most intense civilian / AI position I think I've ever seen in Subcom. And we do see a mech owned by I'm going to say the artificial intelligence, the QAI. He's trying to just farm some mass and stay alive as long as possible. So players are definitely going to avoid the middle of the map for now, for sure. But eventually that position will be overran. But it will take, I think, a little bit longer than normal to really kick that situation out. Northeastern side, we do see Team 2's the Alpha moving in and trying to claim a little bit of that mass. Again, the structures in this game, the civilian / AI, do have mass to them once you destroy them, so it is worth destroying them and grabbing them. We see 87, so it is worth something. It's not a lot, but again, it is something. We see 2 players from Team 2 on the northeastern side. It's Drimmer and the Alpha, and then to the southwest we see the other 2 players from Team 2, Gaba Gaba and Team 2's Lupercal hanging out down there. We do see Team 1 Zelby's down here in the south. And we do see forces from RNA, but his comm is over there to the north. We do see Team 1's players of both Anden and Mass are moving in to the east. So we see a 2v2 scenario over here in the north, and we do see a 2v1 so far in favor for Team 2. But we do see that RNA is pushing into assist, so it is going to be a 2v2 here shortly. So it is going to be an even game in terms of the comm v comm action. We do see that Anden's going for the gun speed and range upgrade in the north. And the map is kind of in this bowl environment. There's not really the territory in this map that kind of is cut down a little bit. It's not entirely a bowl, but it's pretty darn close. So a section of the map already there is unusable. So the map that players have to spread out is thinned out a little bit. We do see, a couple of hills and stuff like that. So it's not a completely flat map, which I do love to see. It has a little bit of character to it, which I always do enjoy looking at. We do see Team 2's Drimmer going for a T2 upgrade, so T2 for Team 2. Trying to establish a frontline position in the north. I didn't even talk about mechs locations. There's really not a lot of them. We do see a Trimix position in the northeast there, and of course down there in the southwest. And there is a couple of mexes. There's a nice little, say, twin mechs down there in the south. There's really not a large clumpages of mexes. There's a couple maybe one-offs, a couple of maybe twin mexes dotted around, but not a whole lot. So to be kind of more focused on getting as much reclaim, getting as much artificial eco as fast as possible. We do see Zelby going for his gun upgrade, and we do see in the north Mass going for his upgrade as well. So 3 players on Team 1 have gun or will soon have gun. Team 2, I don't see any sort of thing happening for them except for the T2 upgrade now done for Drimmer in the north. He's going for a nice little PD creep here, slowly pushing it on the northern side. Stealth started after the gun upgrade is done for Anden. And no upgrades cited for RNA as of yet. T2 air is online for him, and looks like it's the only... Oh, no, there's a secondary air facility going immediately for T3 for Mass, so potentially 2 air players for Team 1. We do see gun started for Alpha now. T2 started pretty far forward for Lupercal. I feel like it's not the best situation to be in because Zelby is inbound if Team 1 knows he's there. Yes, they do. That is not going to be a fun scenario here shortly. And in the southeast, we do see Gaba Gaba going for his... is that his gun or is that his engineering suite? I think this is engineering suite upgrade. We do see that the T2 upgrade is canceled for Looper. Definitely a smart play there, getting out of range. We're trying to stay out of range as soon as possible for as long as possible. And in the air situation, we have 2 T2 land facilities, T2 air and T2 land as well. So no secondary air player for Team 2. So that is going to be an advantage for Team 1. In that regard, we'll see if Team 1 ends up suffering a little bit in the land department because of a little bit more focus on air. Nano starter for Anden in the north. Stealth is done. And we do see Alpha hanging out with his gun upgrade now. Completed. Drimmer going for his TAC missile upgrade. So potentially Billy Nuke for Team 2's Drimmer. Again, there are 3 UEFs, so 3 potential Billy Nukes in total. And one of them is going to get close to halfway done with that upgrade. There are some movements to the middle of the map. We do see a couple of units from Team 1 and Team 2 starting to hem in the QAI facilities, that Quantum Gateway, and all the other T2 PGens there. The forces from Team 1 to get a little bit too close. Again, the Cerberus PD do slowly whittle away those forces. Again, the Cerberus PD definitely the best for taking out Team 1 units. I guess that and the Utashalas are really good at taking out Team 1 units. The forces from Team 2 have a little bit range on them with their missile launchers for the even selling, so they're going to slowly whittle away all of that stuff. And there is a twin mechs in the middle. We see 1 mechs here and here, and then there are 1 here and here underneath that shielded position. So I don't think there'll be any sort of capturing between Team 1 and Team 2 for those stuff, just because it's probably a little bit better to get for that reclaim and upgrade their own mexes and PGens or whatever else. We do see Tech Missile started for Gaba Gaba. He actually did go for T2 not gun, and then T2 once restarted for Supercal once he was out of range of Team 1. Again, there is a couple of PD here, so he's staying out of range. But I do believe Team 1 still knows he's there, so if they're paying attention, they will see the comma stop moving, which is a possible sign that he's going for an upgrade that can be checked by just flying an air scout over top. Speaking of air, T3 air is done for Team 2. T3 air is done for Team 1, and T3 air is almost done for RNA. So 2 air players for Team 1. Again, the longer the land situation kind of doesn't really go anywhere for Team 2, the worse it'll be off for them unless their air player can really pump out some ASF sooner rather than later. Missile strikes that T2 mech squarely in the center and wipes out that 6 mass a second for mass. So he's going to be annoyed that his mass is being wiped out by Team 2. We do see there is, of course, a couple of attack missiles and explosion in the southwest. Looper kills off Zelby by a couple of obsidians, it looks like. That's interesting. Apologies for missing that, but it does drop the game to a 4v3 in favor for Team 2. We do see Looper has to pull back again and start that T2 upgrade, so no idea why he did that again. But we do see, looks like maybe assisted by the missile from Gava Gava. That's probably what spearheaded that. I was going to say, I feel like a couple of T2 units would have been more than enough for Zelby to handle, but you couple the missile in there and yeah, it's not fun. Strat Bomber inbound from Team 1's mass. Gonna get a little bit of revenge for Team 1. T3 Air Headquarters is the target. There's a P-Gen next door. Maybe the T2 P-Gen is the target. We'll kill off a chunk of those engineers. ASF's already off the assembly line to intercept. And there also are some interceptors to do their thing by intercepting. T3 land isn't going to be denied, but definitely will hurt. And that bomber is killed off. Engineers were killed off, but the T3 land headquarters will finish for the Alpha. The one player is dead before 15 minutes, and that base does go to RNA. So he has over almost 300 mass per second. He is leading the game and almost completely out-ecoing the entirety of Team 2. Team 2 is behind about 100 mass a second. Not great for eco for Team 2, but if they can capitalize on the little bit of lack of APM for Team 1, they might be able to crawl their way back up closer to that more even stage in eco. We do see the Alpha starting to push in a little bit. He's not completely committing to the bit. We do see some mobile missile launchers to the east. Those Vipers have the same functionality as the stationary missiles that we see from the Cybers, where they split up once they're shot. They don't do a lot of damage when they do split, but they do some damage, and as you see, they are really wreaking havoc on those zappers for Team 2. He's actually getting them from 2 different directions, so that helps, which is whittling away that force to the north. In the southwest, Team 2 about to claim the entire southern edge of the map. Let's say the southern edge is southern edge is there, but of course the southern half of the map, and or of course the QAI facilities in the middle of the map. Team 2 pretty much owns it. And the eco is still in favor for Team 1. Now it's growing to 140. And RNA and Nden are starting to lead the game. Well, actually RNA already leading the game, but trying to get further and further ahead. Not only for himself, but for his team as well. Alpha continuing to push in with his forces. Team 1 trying to mount up some defense with some Cerberus PD. They are tickle cannons, of course. And they will slow down some of those Team 1 units, but for the most part, not gonna do a whole lot of work against the Alpha. As an example, he has a nice little naming mod on board, so that way you can tell that he has some veterancy. He's up to 3 stars now. We have Nden pushing in. And I guess the first Combi-Com action, if the missile does hold true, would be between Gava Gava and Team 1 Zelby. But in terms of direct fire weapons between one another, looks like the shots are between Nden of Team 1 and Alpha of Team 2. There's the shot impacting that side of the comm. Looks like his leg is just hurting for a second. Had a annoyance there. We do see Drimmer has come to assist gun, missile, and T2 on board. Maybe we'll see some close range missile support. He's fired another volley at some point, and that missile is reloading. We do see a couple of bombers inbound to thin out the TMD for those mobile missile launchers, and now we have a 2v2 action here in the north. Southwestern side, missiles are being launched from Gava Gava, but pretty much that's the only thing. There are a couple of exterior mexes for Team 1 still alive, but that's about it in the south side in general, but the southwest corner specifically. We do see Drimmer's falling back a little bit, and the Alpha continuing to push. He's up to 4-star vet now, almost up to 5 stars. Get all those stars pinned to his leg. We do see more shots raining in on the Vipers to the north, and Team 2 doing a pretty good job of claiming territory, but again, not a lot of mexes in that territory. Team 2 now has dropped that lead to about a 110 or so. Facility is going to get knocked out by the missile from Drimmer. Slows down the resupply of forces from Team 1. We do see Mass is almost at 1 star, and Den is at 1 star, almost at 2. But the Alpha, again, is at 4-star bet with Drimmer at 4 stars as well. And Drimmer might get a close fire missile support ready to go. He hasn't fired it just yet. I think the movement from Team 1 is a little bit erratic to predict their movements. So he's not going to waste the missile, at least for right now. It is a nice little reclaim field, and we do see it's one of the reasons why Drimmer has built that missile inbound. Doesn't hit the comm. It was a lovely attempt, though. He might try again, but we'll try to keep track of that as we move on to the middle, where we see RNA defending against a couple of Obsidians from Team 2. Just annoying him, to say the least, but he is dealing with them with some assistance from Mass's forces. They're kind of starting to conglomerate there in the middle. We do see Team 2's Looper down in the south, actually kind of more the south-ish middle. We do see missile inbound. Oh, I was going to say please hit the transport, but no, it's going to wipe out the mass for that mass extractor, or the reclaim for the mass extractor. Looks like it doesn't wipe out all of it, but pretty much all of it. A little bit unfortunate for Team 1, but there was the Mex was dead anyways, so it's just the reclaim that got destroyed, which is still annoying, but it's not too bad. Team 2 has caught up in a significant way. Maybe there was a power outage for a while. It looks like they have fixed their scenario. Now it's Team 2 leading the eco game barely, but they are starting to lead with, again, a lot of those mass assassinations not helping. Another Mex killed off. Was that a T3 Mex one tapped by a missile? I thought it took 2 missiles from the comm to wipe out a Mex, not just one. Oh, it does. 2,500. Yeah, okay, maybe not. Was there an update recently that I just missed with that? I feel like that comm tac missile doesn't do that much damage. But anyway, the mass from that T3 Mex, which probably does explain the secondary missile, pretty much wiped out as well. So that's actually a lot of mass. I thought it was a T2 Mex, not a T3 one. That's even more mass wiped out for Team 1, continuing to extend their lead. And that does explain a little bit of how Team 2 caught up so quickly. But a couple of Titans outflank Lupercal's comm. He is able to slowly retreat, but more Titans are inbound to the north. His units need to push in. Same with Gava Gava to assist. And Lupercal might get some veterancy to help survive. A couple of Harbingers and some Obsidians are inbound. The Titans are slowly shooed away. I feel like Team 1 maybe could have gone after them, but it would have resulted in significant losses and, of course, veterancy for him anyways. So maybe they didn't want to feed the Horde hand. And in the north, still, Team 2's Drimmer and the Alpha continuing to either hold or just slowly inch their way forward. We do see a couple of circling in, highlights from Team 1's. They'll be saying, hey, go after this and this. It looks like, don't know exactly what he's getting on about. But again, he still has his teammates, Mexes, over here in the southwest hanging out. They're kind of being ignored for now. We'll see if that's just an oversight. Yeah, it looks like just an oversight from Team 2, because they definitely can see them. And Team 1, this is what they can see on Team 2's side of the map. They don't know a whole lot what's going on over here, bar the T3 Air headquarters, but that's pretty much all they really need to know at this point, because they need to know T3 Air is online. It was just that one bomber from Team 1. It looks like that's the only one that I've heard so far. Wouldn't be surprised if another one. Where is that missile going? Did the missile get redirected? Is that what's going on? Because it's still going. Still going. Still going. It's coming back, but it took a wide arc. Look at that thing. And it looks like his Drimmer moved since then. He has, so there's no way it's going to hit him, because it's only launched back at where it was thrown from or fired from. It's still going. Where is it? Man, it's really taking its sweet time. Nano repair started here for Mass, trying to get back into the green. He probably will get to the green before he's done, but he just wants to get there sooner rather than later, which is always something that is smart to do. Air expansionary efforts from Team 1's RNA, and a little bit here from Mass as well. So just trying to expedite air growth as fast as possible. Team 1 back in the lead for Eco. But again, now it's not a 100 plus situation. It's now just a 60-50 mass situation. There's that missile. Finally hits the ground. Took, what was that? 35 seconds? Some egregious amount of time. The Team 1 now fighting back on the land situation with them. Not a wall section of bricks, but, nice little not a covering, but a little short wall. It's like a half cover of wall. We do see nano repairs still being completed on board Mass's comm, but It's just taking a little bit longer than I think sometimes is normal to be completed. He's probably struggling spending some mass or actually gaining some mass. We do see an Oblivion PD has been started there. A couple of them have already been started and done, and shielding protecting them all. A couple of parashields also there to just help out, but there is a spearhead just really annoying that position. They want that one in particular. They don't want, for some reason, the one that's not online to be online instead of the ones that are already online to then be offline. But anyway, I'm not the one that makes the choices on what's targeted, but ooh. Ooh, was that a tac missile snipe? Ooh, if it was a great tac missile snipe. Wiped out 3 or 4 units there. It was, I think, the 2 Titans and the Spearhead that just said, we want to live, and the tac missile said, nope, and Control K those units, or forced the Control K, not transports, but gunships inbound, assisted, and a transport. Assisted by the ASFs from Team 1. Looks like they're trying to hide and obfuscate themselves within those ASF cloud. There are some Harbingers running around trying to prevent some more landings of Team 1. But those Harbingers and those other Obsidians will soon meet a, not to say watery grave, but not a fun time. A couple of mixes eliminated for Gava Gava. Percy's now being assembled and produced by him. And they dealt with that. Was that a Titan? Yeah, it was a couple of Titans, it looks like, from Team 1. Either dropped off, probably dropped off since we saw that transport fly home. We're seeing a lot of gunships being deployed by Team 1. And they might be used as a little, to say, hey, come get the carrot while we distract you and beat you over the head with the stick from the ASFs from the northern side. So Team 2's Dreamer just staying back, not fully engaging. Maybe he'll send an ASF or 2 in. Looks like he's just sent a couple to hang out there, but not sending his full force, which is definitely a smart thing to do. Keep his bulk and keep his losses to a minimal. We do see another missile inbound. We see a couple of Janus. Love to see the Janus be deployed. That TMD is no longer there. And soon will that facility no longer be there? Looks like, yes, it does one tap it. Kills that off, so no more bricks out of that for Team 1 for at least a little bit. Probably will go after some mexes here shortly. But that was a nice move. Sends the Janus in, wipes out the TMD. That could have wiped out the missile just in time for the missiles to say, nope, no more facility for you. A couple of spy planning going down from Team 1. Just getting some tactical intelligence for what's about to happen, I presume, but we're just seeing what Team 2's up to. No surprise nukes or anything at this point. Probably not. And then, of course, I say that, in a minute from now, there'll be, oh, look, a nuke's built and starting to be loaded. Just watch it every time. Every time something like that I say, and it just gets thrown right back in my face. We do see more bricks, or more percentage of bricks for Team 1 for the total force, and a couple of trebuchets looks like mixed in as well. Love to see those units. And a couple of Loyalists. Always got to have those, especially with the missile comms from Team 2. A little bit more mixing of T2 and T3 tech. Or do we see... There is a couple of Loyalists in there as well, so love that the Cybern players are including the Loyalists. Not necessarily the strongest or the best unit in their roster, but the most versatile, especially when it comes to EMP weapons, and of course the TMR, the Tactical Missile Reflection or Redirection, depending on your flavor of the month. The middle of the map has been cleaned out by Team 2. No efforts to build anything here, but they've cleaned out the facilities. They've scooped it all up, and no more QAI, at least on this section of the planet for the time being. And looks like, yep, there's that missile. Redirects onto those units. And it's just a constant playing of tennis between those 2 sets of Loyalists in those mixes for both teams. But it looks like Team 1 still doing a pretty good job of thinning them out as well as pushing them back. And again, no shielding for the Cybern, so that T3 artillery is really just really hooding those forces, and they're just not having a fun day. ARAS done for RNA to the west. He's hanging out in his air grid underneath shielding. Definitely a good place to sit. Reclaiming T2 P-Gens. Probably put T3 P-Gens next to the T3 air headquarters to speed up production a little bit, and also just cut down on costs, because it's nice to just say, no, I don't want to spend that much energy for a unit. I will just spend a little bit less on my energy bill this week, thank you, or month. We do see Firebase being built by Team 2. We see a couple of Ravagers, lots of AA, not AA back here, AA in front, which is interesting. Some flak also mixed in to deal with the gunships, and a couple of Percys to hang out. There also is the stealth field, which does obfuscate the forces here from Team 2. They will see them and then immediately not see them when the units are not within visual range. This is an Omni, which will keep them permanently on the map, unless they do, of course, fall out of Omni range, which they are barely out of it. So there is that. Again, the shielding is down. Second Ravager is about to finish. Not a lot of PD, and I think Team 2 is wishing that he built a little bit more PD and a little bit less of the AA. And there is some TMD that definitely needs to be added to this mix, because Team 1 has been using missiles for a little while now, so not a great scenario to be in. We do see parashields coming in to assist a little bit. Shielding popped back online, shield being rebuilt, but that probably will not happen soon. And Team 1 outnumbers Team 2 a decent amount to 1, so not a good environment. We do see Harbingers back here might get thrown to assist, but I think it might be a little bit too late to save that base, especially with the missiles constantly raining in. The Team D needed to be built, if I can talk, sooner rather than later, and it's definitely later instead of sooner. In terms of the forces from Team 2, they're still kind of hanging out over here against Team 1's forces to the north for Anden, but not really a lot of progress has been made one way or the other. It's kind of stalling out a little bit. I would presume an experimental is being built by somebody. Maybe break that tie. Speaking of experimental, I do see you, Yothotha, to the north. It is inbound eastward to where Mass is moving. He's probably going to move here. I don't know if the chicken will go... Oh, it looks like it is going to go eastward, but that wall section from Team 2 is starting to become very brittle. And especially with those walls not moving much, the artillery can really rip some holes in the foundation and just have them crumble to the ground. We do see the western side, though. The remaining forces from Team 2 did move out of the base, bar 1 or 2 or 3 spearheads, but I don't think that'll really last from Team 2's Gava Gava. And we do see a decent amount of flak in this mix for the Harbingers. They're not pushing in just yet, and Team 1 again is staying at arm's length, really just poking and prodding at the remainder of what's there from Gava Gava, but not really committing fully to the bit. They're just kind of hanging out and wishing that Team 2 would just go away. In terms of main base, what they're up to, nothing big, crazy nonsense happening for Team 2 as of yet. We do see a GC is done for Looper. He just gets the nice little message there, and RNA finishes an experimental as well. Air grid looking nice and cascadable, but I do like this little move here where it's a lot harder to cascade to the T3 air headquarters. Yes, there's a PGen that has taken some damage from that bomber earlier on, but it will not cascade into the headquarters, which is definitely a smart move. Yes, the actual hydrocarbon is not volatile. I think the only PGen or PGen-like structure that is not volatile. T2 air is done for... who is that? That is the Alpha. He's producing some Corsairs, probably for that chicken. But the facilities for Team 2, both for him and for Drimmer, are just not looking too hot. That chicken is going to mow those down here quickly. Again, the Alpha is over here. He has gun and stealth on board. He's upgrading to some facilities on the front line to help resupply easily, or easier. But I feel like that might not be necessary. And it feels like a small map, but it also looks like a big map. It's not a full 20 by 20, but it's definitely probably about a 16 or so. So it's enough to move around, but again, you have to remember that the edges of the map are pretty much void of any sort of usable land. And then there are some other annoyances in terms of pathfinding and whatnot for the, whatever the lake of fire and brimstone that this water is supposed to be, which is definitely interesting. Looks like lava, but it is water, but it does look like lava, so I do like the aesthetic there. And Team 2, the Alpha, is falling back. And I don't know. He has a transport inbound coming to pick him up. Will he get out of there is the question. It's over the... yeah. No, he's going to keep moving. He's going to keep moving. The transport goes away. Oh, he's going to keep moving. He's probably going to die here. And the transport going to try again. Oh, he's losing hit points. He's not getting out of there anytime soon. Transport almost gets him, but gets destroyed in the explosion anyways. And Team 2 loses their first player of the game at 31 minutes. I didn't note at the beginning, but this is an epic game. It's over an hour long, so lots of time for all of the juicy bits that we love to see in Subcom. We do see chicken is dropping almost into yellow, but again, the shields are helping a little bit. The GC is dropped into yellow, so not a good scenario to be in for it. It's still at a decent chunk of hit points remaining. The chicken almost at 1-star veterancy, but I feel like the assisting forces will be more than enough. And the chicken to secure the kill on the GC will just give it a nice big, or almost give it a nice big hug The crash damage would have, without the veterancy, killed off had the chicken give him a hug, but it did not, so it does save itself. It is heavily damaged, though, so pretty much going to be out of the fight, but Team 1 could come by and reclaim it. Team 2 could try to come by and reclaim it, so it's going to be a little bit of fight for a reclaim there. In terms of the West, we see another chicken online for Team 2. This time it's from RNA pushing in against Gaba Gaba and Looper's forces. And that's not going good for Team 2 either. There is a GC inbound, so they do have that going for them. Another one built by Looper. And tons of spy planes. There's been a lot of AA built by Team 2's Drimmer, and some, to be fair, from the Alpha. So Team 2 trying to just not nullify Team 1's air, but just do a little bit more work on the ground to say, no, please go away. No, go away. No, we don't want you here. No, go away. Or do you see some Cougars inbound to these Voltus, but they completed the mission, at least killed off a T2 mix. They won't kill off the T3. They wiped out a couple of mass storages, or one mass storage rounded, but not enough to really do a significant eco damage. There is that force from Team 1, but it's probably going to head this way. That GC is coming from the east, and that's probably not a good engagement point where you see forces now come in from the north as well. So lots of forces from Team 1 hanging out down here, both in the air and in the ground. But we do see Team 2 in the east moving in, not moving in, but hanging out. ASF's going to collide for a smidgen and just get immediately eaten by Team 2. So not really great in that regard. But again, it's just one of those things where you send a couple in to see what you can do. Okay, it didn't really work. Okay, we'll just leave. Again, there are some Stingers heavily not great in terms of hit point count gunships, but yeah, they are very spammable. So again, what they lack in hit points, they make up for in just being a lot of one thing. You see shields and more facilities here coming down for Gaba Gaba just to reinforce that position a little bit. Same thing we saw on the north for Anden. We do see, again, Zelby still in the game saying, hey, there's some mexes here that you can grab. Hey, you know, move forces here, there, and the everywhere. Looks like he highlighted the engineers to grab those. Fat Boy now online for RNA. Another chicken online for RNA. And the UEF, actually, technically the Seraphim doing UEF things. It is the satellite making its appearance at 33 minutes. Unless Team 2 has already started one I didn't even notice, which is entirely possible. Speaking of things I didn't notice, there is a nuke, and it's already half loaded for Team 1's and Den. Remember that comment I made about the nuke? Well, I made it a little bit sooner, but, you know, the same principle applies. Major air fight. First one of the game occurs on Team 2's side of the map, and it will be won by Team 1. And I think RNA could have handled it by himself, but the additional ASFs from Mass will definitely help favor that. But again, there is some AA nearby from Team 2, some flak, and it actually looks like the caster is once again wrong. It's a clean swipe or clean slate for pretty much everybody. Team 2's Drimmer still has, actually, no, never mind. He has 100 ASFs remaining. He has a lot more than I thought. So he wiped out both air forces from Team 1 and now has air dominance. Not supremacy yet, but working on it. And we do see a chicken now. Really interestingly enough, it's here. There's two GCs from Team 2 here, and then there's another chicken here. So that's interesting. I wonder where this chicken's going. He's not going this way. He's going this way. It looks like he's going for this base down here in the southwest, just wiping up more exterior mexes and eco for Team 2, really boxing them in. And there are those two GCs. That one's about to be within range of that other chicken. You know, that chicken. First GC is down. Second star veterancy. That GC will encourage that chicken to not come closer to avoid the crash damage. 6,000, 5,000, 4,000, 3,000, 2,000, 1,000, and dead. GC is heavily damaged already. Fat Boy inbound. Chicken rot. Really, well, it's going after mixes, I guess. And Ion Storm activates. The GC tries to get out of range. Nuke is inbound from Team 1. Don't know where it's going. It's going for here. Is there an SMD? Doesn't look like... Oh, there is. Never mind. It is going to be loaded in time. And look, there is a satellite. So, hey, look at that. UEF doing UEF things versus Seraphim doing UEF things. And Chicken doing chicken things. But after killing off those mexes, some forces from Gaba Gaba pulled back. And looks like he dealt with that quite nicely. But again, Team 1's probably going to get the lion's share of the eco here. For the reclaim here. Just because they are a little bit closer to it. And SMD is loaded in time, fires, takes out that nuke, and prevents a kill and a whole bunch of damage for Team 2's. Drimmer's second satellite has almost been completed, and it might be a satellite war here shortly on a LANAE match. Definitely one of the more, not say rare things, but not as common things. That's almost a full diamond shape there for Team 1. RNA. We do see that satellite already getting some damage on some structures to the north. Kills off the nuke, I believe. Yep, the nuke was right about... Yeah, actually, that's probably where the nuke was, right there. So, unfortunate for Team 1, they lose it. They don't get the benefit of the nuke actually landing, but the attempt was made, which I, of course, love to see. At 36 minutes on the clock, we have a 3v3 game, with Team 1 Zelby being the first eliminated, and then Alpha not right after that, but soon after that. Eco does favor Team 1. Not a terrible amount, but I'd say it's roughly about 100 mass per second, which between 3 players is about 33, about one T3 single ring mechs, and then one just T2 mechs, not even ringed. But let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win this game. Of course, if you haven't done so already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, because why not already? And of course, thanks so much in advance and in the past and in the future, because it's just still weird to think about during the... Right now, I'm talking about something that will then be the past when it's released, but then I'm talking about it in the future, about the future, and it's so weird. So weird to think about how time works with these videos. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. We do see a couple of firsties coming to the rescue. We're trying to come to the rescue of that GC, and I feel like this game in particular, it's kind of favoring the chicken, as we've seen multiple engagements where the chicken survives and the GC does not, and that's probably just because of other factors, but it may look like on the outside that the chicken is beating the GC who has more hit points and whatnot. But, you know, there's, again, a lot of factors to that as well. FAF War coming online for Gava Gava. SMD built and loaded. And more shielding being built for Looper, getting more SMDs online. Mex is being eliminated. And I would assume he's doing the exact same thing on the northern side. He's actually going after the counter satellite from Team 1. Shields are trying to be built and expanded upon to protect said emplacement or station. I feel like they should just assist that primary shield and call it a day, but they might finish that second one in time to make it worth it. More mexes are going to be eliminated, so that's more mass from Team 2 being removed from their pocketbooks. And there is that chicken, once again, just coming down the middle from Team 1. Fat Boy backing it up, so a little bit more pressure to push. But again, the match does go on for over an hour. Shield does get completed, and I think that's going to be the end of the attempt from those satellites to pierce that shielding for at least a little while longer. Shielding being built to protect the air grid. That would have been a better target to maybe go after, wipe out the entire power grid, and then RNA can't protect the satellite, because look at that power. It's still positive, which is good, but it's not great in terms of how much, power he has wrapped up in the air grid. So if that cascades and blows up, that is a not fun time for him. I feel like that is a better target to go after. Team 2 doesn't know how much power he has, positive or negative or whatnot, but I do feel like the sooner, kind of like a Scathis, the sooner you can build it, the sooner you can use it on the air grid, on the other game ender, on the whatever, the better, because it's just going to get shielded. It's going to make it even harder to deal with. More mexes being eliminated for Team 2's Drimmer, and that's not looking good. He's dropping Eco pretty quickly because of it. RNA at 650 and Drimmer's at almost 500. He was, I think, at 500, and then he's dropped because of the inbound aggression. Speaking of inbound aggression, we have a bunch of stingers going to sting that Ythotha to death, maybe. We do see the flak on board the chicken is decent to deal with weaker units, of course, and considering they are gunships, definitely nice, well-equipped to deal with it. Most of those gunships have now been dealt with. There are now bricks on the ground moving into intercept. There's a Continental just hanging out on the ground. Chicken at 5-star vent. Killed off a bunch of mass, closing in on 70,000. We have more gunships. These time the bigger and beefier brothers of the Stingers. And that chicken goes nowhere fast after the death of all of those T2 gunships. We do see counter Fat Boy online for Team 2 trying to protect the wreck of the GC. In terms of Eco, Team 1 is barely winning the reclaim game, but again, not by much, not as much as I would think. And now there's a Megalith with no AA in sight. We do see some ASFs over here. We see some ASFs over here, but they're not going for the... Oh, okay, never mind. I can just speak it into existence, I guess. German moving his ASFs in, says, nope, those are my gunships, so go away. And then we have Mass saying, okay, that's fine. I'll just go away now. I'll just sit in... Oh, nope, 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 nope. I thought he was going to push in anyways, but looks like German focusing on the bricks and the Autumns, not the crab. Letting that escape back to its base. Looks like those T3 force is a little bit more annoying, I think, in the long term to deal with than one crab. We do see 3 chickens from Team 1. We see 1 from Mass and 2 from RNA. RNA, how is your shielding process going? Is almost on a full loop around. And we see some mexes have been eliminated from him. He's shielding them as we speak, so he has to rebuild. Second satellite almost done for him as well, so fighting back in more satellite deployment opportunities. 41 minutes on the clock. Team 2, do you have anything big going besides that one set of satellite? No, that's it. Nothing big for Team 1 as well in terms of artillery, game ender, another nuke, that sort of thing, but as of right now, I don't see anything else. More crabs, which could be big. Lots of experimentals on the ground does help push the ground game, especially if the opponent doesn't really focus on land. You can punch on through and just keep pushing, and pushing, and hopefully reach something of vital importance. We see a couple of Ascendant. I think those were the AA flak units, if I believe, being killed out by the chicken. Team 2 with the Fat Boy assistance able to push back on Team 1 and a ton of spearheads, so going in more of the indirect weapon systems, both in the missile and in the more mobile artillery. Is he building? Yes, he's building units on the backs of the Fat Boys. Got to love it. We see, I think, a mix of parashields and Cougars. Love to see that. I think the only 2 units, realistically, the only 2 units you really need to build on the backs of the Fat Boy are Cougars / Skyboxers and Parashields. So AA and Shields. Realistically, that's it. I mean, you could build Percy, you can build Titans, you can build other units on board, but I feel like the most impactful units, especially for those to protect the Fat Boy, are the Parashield and the AA. Whether it's T2 or T3, just one of the 2. We do see that second satellite is now inbound. It's going, well, it's going to probably join its twin, going after the exterior mexes for Drimmer. And Team 2's Gaba Control Ks. I didn't see any pausing going down. Oh, actually, maybe some pausing, because that was a lot of text all at once. Drimmer says nuke, but that was a while ago. No shields from Looper. Talking about that little grid right there from Mass. Looks like that's some F's in the chat, I guess, from RNA. But Team 2 drops a player to control. Maybe I would presume just an just not deletion, but departure from that. It's probably a connection issue, which is always unfortunate to see. It's probably one of the worst things to happen, just because regardless if you want it to happen or not, regardless if you're on the same team or not, for me, I would rather the players leave because the game's not winnable anymore, or just leave the match but keep their comm alive, that sort of thing, versus them lose connection due to an exterior factor, regardless if power is cut, if just, I don't know, the computer turns off for whatever reason. Windows updates are notorious for doing that, so I make it the point to say, no, I decide when you update, not you decide, Windows, when you update. So I make it a point to do that on every machine that I have, because they're annoying, especially when you're in the middle of something, like playing a game. Super annoying. But anyway, enough about that. We do see that Megalith that was attacked earlier is now back for more, but looks like it's encountering a Siren wall that's familiar with, but not familiar enough with. And we do see lots of engineers mixed into those land forces, again, ready to scoop up whatever Team 2 leaves on the ground, regardless if it's their own units or Team 1, actually their own units or their units. In terms of talking about Team 2, that shield does prove to help a little bit, but not enough, I think, to save that crab. Crab doesn't get second veterancy like it wanted. Crash damage will kill a chunk of units here, but also a couple of bricks from Team 2, so it's kind of a friendly fire, not really friendly fire affair. But again, engineers are there, they will reclaim it. And Team 1 still is leading the mass game now by a chunk. It's about 400 mass in their favor, I'll estimate. But Team 2 does have a concerning amount of forces down here that Team 1 has to definitely deal with. And what is this? We have a laser targeting Looper's comm. Sorry, we have 2 lasers in the sky targeting Looper's comm. That will drop Team 2 if he doesn't get underneath shielding, that he could probably go back that way to go get. We'll drop it to a 3v1, and then it'll just become an APM war at that point. And that is not great. Long-term Looper, 1,000 hit points. There he goes. Team 2 suffers another loss, and now it is a 3v1 due to RNA satellites, which is he's working on his 3rd, but he only has 2 so far. 2 satellites for Team 2. It was a tale of 2 satellites, I guess. That might be the the text in the thumbnail. I'll say I'll just highlight those two sets and just be like, that's a tale of two satellites, but it's a tale of two twin satellites, two sets of twins, something like that. I'll come up with something. Select all idle NGs and have got me killed so many times. Says Looper. So it looks like he selected his comm maybe and walked it forward and didn't notice. By the time he noticed, he was too late. Maybe looks like it was what happened. We do see a lot of spearheads back here. The FAF boys are the target of the satellite aggression, and those units just got shot out of the sky. No hope of getting anywhere close. And again, this is impassable terrain coming from the south. You can see the nice little, upper plateau section. There are 4 GCs versus 3 chickens. One of them almost in the red, one of them almost in the green, and one of them newly minted. So in terms of total hit points, not great for Team 1. They could probably just launch these two right at those GCs. They might get a kill, maybe, if they're lucky, but they'll do a lot more damage with the ion storms. So Team 2 has to be careful of how close those things get. And given the fact they don't have a lot of direct fire weapon systems besides the GCs, they really need to be careful about how slow they are killing those chickens. But again, Team 2's Drimmer now has control of the entire eco of Team 2. He's at almost 1,000 mass under his purview. He has an artillery piece. Second one has started. Third one technically was started, but he's like, no, build that one first, then go do the other one. Definitely needs a little bit of shielding, I think, in terms of on that eastern side for those satellites, but Team 1 didn't really focus the satellites, so I don't think he's going to worry about it. But both of those FAF boys are down due to Nathas, and they're just getting blown out of the sky by Flak and by Cougars. I do like the mix of both. And those 5 GCs are now retreating. Team 1 has still 3 chickens, and that one's still not in the green yet, but it's still working on regenning. Those Nathas do get a run at, looks like this GC, still getting some more bombs dropped on it. They might actually grab one of them before the day is done, at least for them. A lot of Flak mixed in. We see more Nathas inbound from Mass, going after a different GC. I would think that you would target maybe the same GC, but maybe they want to go for like a tiny bit of AoE damage on these two because they're right next to one another. So that's definitely a smart play. Maximize the damage as best as possible. Less shots with more damage equals hopefully more shots for more damage, maybe. Artillery piece in the green. That's being built very quickly. So Team 2's Drimmer is going full turtle mode, long range artillery. Keep Team 1 at bay as long as possible. And looks like he's targeting the air grid for Mass. And ooh, that kills off a chunk of the power. Not enough to wipe out the entire grid, though. He's still at positive, and his teammate of RNA still has power to overflow to him. So he's not in a bad situation yet. Yet being the key word in that statement. 3 again, satellites are done. 1 satellite is down. Nothers are continuing to be inbound. Where is the Flak? They need to keep pushing back or pulling back with the GCs. And the Nathas don't have a target. Or they had a target and it died. I guess it was this one. They go, wait, that target is dead. And then say, okay, never mind, we'll go home now. So, weird, but it does happen from time to time. It's kind of the similar thing that happens when you target a unit and then it leaves visual contact or radar or whatever, and then your unit is still chasing it as if it still sees it. It's kind of what happened to, oh shoot, there was a game a week or so ago where GCs were encountering a cloaking command, Siren who was about to get cloaking upgrade, and they killed him even after the cloaking was engaged. And the only way I could think that that would work is if, you know, it was activated. If they clicked on the comm to kill and then the cloaking activated and then it just followed him until its death. But Drimmer gets on a transport to avoid a telemaser attempt from Anden. And there's Anden with the cloaking and laser on board. So nice quick thinking from Team 2's Drimmer. He moves to this position. And guess what? Yep, there it is. Immediately builds more T2 PD. And Team 1 PD probably assuredly. We do see, again, more shielding definitely needed. They're going after the lasers in the sky. Definitely wants to keep those alive. Second artillery piece is done. Third one is also almost done. He really is pumping those things out. And with 2 emissaries plus a Duke And that air grid for Team 1's mass probably not looking too great. Again, there's a decent amount of shielding for Team 1, and for RNA, we do see a Hoverthan being built in the mix of some of that shielding as well. It's pretty much actually the weakest in the middle. I think there's there's a tiny gap right there. Not a huge gap, but just a little bit of a missed little section, but the chances are low that the artillery will hit that. Still does exist, but definitely low. One satellite is down. Again, definitely needed more shielding. And the second one is about to fall about at the 50-minute mark. And more pigeons being built to increase the fire rate of said artillery pieces, and more pigeons doing the exact same for that one, just to pump out more and more damage. I am surprised he hasn't started a fourth one. Maybe he's waiting for something, loading more SMDs. Is there another nuke for Team 1? No, 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 and no. But looks like he's targeting the satellites from Team 1, though. RNA has lost this one right here, so one does fall out of the sky, and I will note the satellites do have mass. That can be reclaimed. 5,400, in fact. But it is definitely worth it to take them out and figure out where they fall and scoop them up. Team 1, of course, knows of the three artillery existence. 51 minutes closing in on the clock. And the shield around that Novax is down. If the emissary clips it just right, it will be it should be a one-shot kill. There's the shot. Oh, it hits right outside the shielding. Shield falls again. Next one lands right here. That's a one-shot kill from that emissary, and now only one satellite remains. Shield probably won't pop back online in time. Oh, maybe. Never mind. I can just completely eat those words for 2 seconds. And shield gets impacted. Shielding is now bolt down. That definitely saved the Novax's life, reclaiming that immediately. Again, nice job from Team 1, just constantly reclaiming. And in the north, we see another attempt by a crab to say, I'm going to punch through a brick wall. And the brick wall says, no, we'll just throw ourselves at you, because they're bricks and they hurt when they're thrown at the megalith. So not really the great situation to be in, but I do want to note that there is a lot of AA now from Team 1 supporting those land experimentals and forces, just to slowly eat away at whatever ASFs come into range. Are they still shooting at those? Oh, looks like those missiles were still locked on to more units. I guess not. 3 emissaries. Have they killed out the last Novax? No, it's still alive. Barely, but it's still alive. T3 shielding, going to try to be assisted for as long as possible. This is, I think, the problem is, do you switch tactics up? Do you go after something else? But that shot from that emissary might be close enough, and it was! And all 3 satellites are now down. Actually, all of them in the game are dead at 42 minutes, and now Team 2 will Drimmer will probably just focus on this. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't focus on that, I should say. But no hidden surprises from Team 1 as of yet. Again, we do have to keep track of Anden. He has the Telemazer Commander online, ready to go, queued up. He's just waiting for an opportunity. And yep, there is the shot. I was going to say, don't be in the middle of that air grid immediately. But it is going to impact, and that's what he's going to be shooting at for the time being. There are 4 chickens inbound. There are 4 GCs. And that chicken that it regen still hasn't regened back into the green, but it's so close. Oh, excuse me there. My voice did some weird things there. Oh, might have been the food that I ate or something. I don't know. Or the long hours of work, one way or the other. It's probably something like that. And then I, of course, have a tiny little panic moment of, did I press the record button? And I look over and I go, yes, I did. That was going to be awkward. 52 minutes, I think, on the recording now or whatever it is. And that would have been awkward to redo all this. I haven't done that in a while, and I'm not going to jinx myself, but there have been times where maybe like 10 minutes into a video, I'm like, oh no, I didn't push the button, and I have to redo it again. But 10 minutes isn't as bad as 50. And shielding is collapsing for Team 1. And a lot of that air grid is about to fall. T3 air quarters is still alive somehow. RNA, how's your power? Not great. And then how's your power? If he starts doing the teleporter, I forget how much power it does cost him to run the thing. He's probably definitely glad he built it now rather than the teleporter rather than later, because that would definitely be hurting the power for Team 1 collectively. Oh, and the T3 air quarters is down, so no more air for Team 1 as of yet, but they can still produce other units. There's still 4 chickens for Team 2 to deal with. There's Percy's here. Again, it's just going to probably be a APM war, like I noted earlier. The longer this game goes on, the worse it is for Drimmer because he's at the disadvantage for, actions per minute. Frustration, tiredness, all of that sets in. And that affects, and of course, affects the AP. And of course, he's doing stuff over here, and then he goes over here, and he does stuff over there, and he goes over here, and does stuff over there, and he goes over there. Like all of that time zooming in around the map, that hurts the APM. 1 chicken is down, 1 GC is down, and 2 chickens are down. The Iron Storm is now activated for the. Actually, it's still not activated for the first. That took a while to activate. I feel like 2nd GC, and the 3rd one's about to die. And Percy's run right head into those 2 Ion Storms. Probably not the best idea to do that. And 3rd GC is down, and 4th one's about to go down. The Ravagers are targeting that 3rd chicken to the north. Might get him end up pulling back, but that 4th GC is down. So Team 1 loses 2 chickens to Team 2's 4 GCs. And that definitely favored Team 1, that's for sure. Again, those Ravagers are being just built continuously. And they do put out a lot of damage. Another GC is inbound. That might save some of this for Team 2. And the ASFs are like, we got to move out of the way. New satellite online for Team 1's RNA. He's just going to keep annoying Drimmer with it. Looks like he's targeting the base for Anden. Looks like T3 land headquarters is down. He's probably trying to deny construction of new T3 units is probably what the main focus is. He's taking out the headquarters there. He's taking out the headquarters there. There's no headquarters for Anden as well. So if you can't produce units, you can't fight back. You can't fight back, then it's a better time. But the chicken does survive just barely. And another GC. That's number 5. So it's 2 for 5 for Team 1. Definitely going to take that to the bank every day of the week. 3 artillery still pumping out shots. We have 2 GCs inbound. Now we have the full weight of Team 2's Drimmer just pumping out experimentals. These 2 on that western side. Is that a new megalith? That is a new megalith online. That is one thing I will note. Team 1 can still build experimentals even without a T3 land headquarters. They just need to make sure they have a T3 engineering suite on the comm or just more engineers. Or T3 engineers. One or the other. But that'd be kind of unfortunate if you killed off a headquarters and all the engineers it built died. Or if you build a facility and then you kill the facility, does it wipe out all the engineers? That'd be a interesting mechanic. I don't know how good of a mechanic that would be, but it definitely would be interesting. Kind of like when you kill off a player in partial partial share, it's a little different, but no share or share until death. Everything he built or they built is dead after he dies. Or they die, so it's one of those facility builds, engineers, only engineers, not combat units or anything like that. Just strictly engineers. Anyway, I don't know how you would. There would probably be a way to track that, but I think it'd be difficult. But 3 artillery shells, one after the other, after the other. I thought the other one was coming in. Oh no, there it is. It's just not as highlighted as its counterparts because 2 are plasma based and 1 are shell based. So, impacted directly. Doesn't kill off the Novax. Doesn't one tap it like the emissary does. But heavily damaged is still heavily damaged. And shield pops back online. 1 shield hit. 2 shield hits. And it's staying alive. Staying alive. That satellite focusing on shielding, I would guess. Maybe the SMD is the target in that mix. But the momentum for Team 1 has died down. Looks like it's mainly just going to be focusing on, I would assume, reclaim at some point. They're building facilities to do that right now. And Novak still is not shielded. Oh, shield back online. Never mind. 1 emissary shot, 2 emissary shot, and Duke impacts to the north, takes out a shield emplacement there. And somehow that Novax is still alive. More shielding being brought. Is it going to be enough? I don't think so. Yep, there it is. Impacts on the side of the shield and wipes it out. And that is the end of number 4 Novax from Team 1. And another 5,400 mass lands right there. Just to hang out for Team 2 to scoop up. And again, in terms of reclaim, Team 2 sitting at 360. Team 1 at 337. So a little bit in favor for Team 2. But again, in terms of the total mass per second, it's 1.2 versus not as much, not even 1,000, not even 900. in total mass accrued. Actually, not that far off, to be honest. Team 1's been in the lead for a while. It's not that much of a lead. Overall, it's not as bad as you would think it would be. And the artillery has already wiped out the Novaks, and now they're just wiping out the reclaim. Says no more mass for you. Nano repair starting here for RNA. And we have Den hanging out over here, and we have Mass over there. 58 minutes. We're closing in on an hour, and the game is kind of slowed down a little bit. There's still skirmishes kind of in the north. The main focus, though, of Team 1's land forces are here, and there's 5 GCs and 1 Mega. I think Drimmer's like, I need to go for more range, and goes for the crab. But again, if the crab was tall enough to ride the ride, it could shoot over the little hill there. So all of that damage is just immediately negated by geography. So Team 1's getting a little bit of benefit there. Lots of counter Ravagers now for Team 1. So using Team 2's trick against them, that's never fun. We do see another GC is dead. Another chicken is dead. Another chicken is dead. Heavily focusing on all the chickens first. Some of the forces do run by, but there's another GC to say, no thank you, going home now. Not going home now, you're going home now. Another megalith is inbound to the north. Will this be the same one or the same result as the other ones? We have, again, a brick wall here, and guess what? Team 2's Dreamer's just going to go, okay, just run into that megalith and stop it from moving or kill it off or whatever. And, oh, that's so much reclaim. I didn't even check the reclaim on the map. We've seen how much reclaim players have totaled. We scooped 350,000, and half of that is right there, roughly. That's a lot. And that megalith is dead once again. It's not having fun over there, those megaliths. They're just not having any fun over on that northern side. We do see artillery is now targeting the power grid once again. The artillery for Team 1 that was building here was denied. Don't know if it was stopped or not by the artillery from Team 2 or just Team 1 just stopped it themselves. SACU goes down, so there was a couple of the either Rambos or RAS or something was thrown in there, but that didn't work. More bricks are charging through from Team 1. There's a Fat Boy. Its secondary guns are opening up, which means if those guns are opening up, things are too close for that Fat Boy's comfort. And the remaining bricks have pretty much been dealt with for Team 2. Unfortunately, there's a lot of spam facilities here, so there's a lot of hit points to chew through there. There's another bug here for Team 2. And the ASFs go right and then swing left, but then there's all those bouncers here. Oh, not good for air fights for Team 2. There's passive AA also underneath for them, so it's a lot of passive AA for both teams, but that's more mobile for Team 1's bouncers. And that wiped the floor with Team 2's ASFs. That was brutal. But Team 2's Drimmer had the better engagement earlier, and then Team 1 now had a great exchange, and that is going to be a hefty amount of ASFs ahead. And again, that's especially considering the fact that Team 1 can't build any ASFs yet because, well, I guess there's that facility there. So technically they can, but not the ones for RNA. Those can't be built yet. They're both Seraphim, but same, but not same. And no, oh, I thought there was going to be something being built there, but I got my hopes up for nothing. 3 artillery piece still pumping out shots. Those Novaxes were rebuilt, so there is that. And those bricks, again, have chewed through a couple of facilities, but not a whole lot. And I don't know. Team 1 maybe needs to change up their strategy a bit. I was going to say, are they just trying to snipe the column of mass? He has taken some damage by something. He's in that, is he in that water? Is he short? He is not short. He's not short enough to hide under the water. So that artillery piece is probably not going to fit. Where is Enden? Where did you go? I always get anxious when... Oh, there he is. There he is in the corner. There he is. And then going for attack missile snipe attempt. Again, does Team 1, most importantly, yes, they know where the comm is. The question is, will he build enough missiles to pierce the veil of the shielding, which there's no TMD there, so maybe you might as well go for the sniper attempt. There's really no point to go for the artillery because if you kill off the player, you win the game. And we'll see how long it stays there for Team 1's. And then hopefully he does the move where you build everything you need to build, you kind of assist it a little bit, and then you teleport out immediately, and then you fire, because that way, in case it doesn't work, you don't die in the process. He's building more mass fabs. Team 1, of course, can't... Actually, sorry. Team 2 can't see him because of the stealth field. It's such a weird corner of the map, and you... I mean, it is, I guess, flat, but you wouldn't really know that from a long range perspective. You could actually probably do it over here as well, but we'll see. Those tac missiles should have the range. It would be unfortunate if he teleported there and didn't have the range, which he actually barely does. He barely has the range for it. But hey, almost only counts on horseshoes and hand grenades, so if it works, it works. And another megalith now coming this way instead of this way. And looks like that's a little bit better engagement for him. There's another megalith here for Team 2. We have tons of engineers scooping on reclaim. Drimmer just skyrocketing, I would presume. Yeah, he's up to 500. He was barely ahead of the totality of Team 1, and now he's up 150,000. He's still behind in total mass accrued, but he is really catching up in that game with the reclaim. And lasers are going after Mass's comm. He has advanced nano. Is that advanced nano? No, that's not advanced nano. That's regular nano. Ooh, shield's going to be upgraded. I don't think that's going to happen. Oh, the shield doesn't get killed off, though. So there is that. Oh, we're going to build a new shield. Does the satellite Yes, it does. Second satellite or second shield is down. Mass goes, okay, I got to keep walking. And that new shield. Looks like the chickens are being focused. Probably not the best. I focus the comm. You kill the comm off, though, it might not be great because of the fact that the mass and stuff would go to RNA, and maybe it's not necessarily what he wants. But again, between two players, Team 1 doesn't have enough eco roughly to surpass that of Drimmer, but combined all three roughly, that is enough. And still more missiles being built. And then are you going to teleport out of there? Maybe not. Maybe he'll just commit to the bit. And if he wins, he wins. He loses, he loses. But this will be a great snipe. He doesn't use the telemaser concept. He uses the teleporter to build the missiles to then fire at the comm. And again, like I said, we'll see if it works. There's no TMD. If Drimmer's still standing there, which he probably will still be, he's on 5-star vet. He has T2 and he has shield. So he's at 40,000 shielding. Or sorry, 40,000 total hit points. 19,000 of that is shielding. And Mass still being chased by satellites and artillery. He's being chased by two different things. One of them completely over the top of them. The other one is not looking too hot. Mass will be killed off by satellites. A little bit of revenge for Team 2's Lupercal, who got killed off by satellites from Team 1. Will the missile strike actually happen soon? 1 hour, 5 minutes. This has got to be enough to wipe everything in front of him. Alpha Bomber online for Team 1's RNA. And ASFs are inbound for the bomber. The bomber is going straight for that group of fatties, which is going to be a great bombing run. Even if he dies, it's going to kill off a ton of shielding HP. Ooh, and kills off some ASFs in the process, I think, both for Team 1 and for Team 2. And I'm still waiting for those missiles to be fired. I'm still like, I gotta keep track. Again, he's barely on the minimap as well. You can barely see him on that corner. Satellites poking and prodding at everything else from Team 1. T3 Air Headquarters is going to be targeted again. That's unfortunate. Kill, then it's just a 1300, says Looper. Kill. Strap bombers mixed in from Team 1's RNA. They're going after the fatties. Again, they are grouped together, so a little bit of AoE. A lot of them are killed off. Some of them do make it back, and some of them didn't even launch the payload. That's unfortunate, but with 3 fatties in close proximity, you just either take the casualties or you don't go for it. It's one or the other. And satellites wipe out the T3 air headquarters assisted by the artillery. And now RNA is being targeted. If you're going to launch the missiles, you better do it now. Because it is not... Look, there is the miss. There it is. There it is. There is the volley. It's inbound. Dum-da-dum-dum. I guess where they're going. Does he notice? We'll see if he notices. We'll look at from Team 2's perspective. He moves! He moved! Oh, no. I don't know if he knew or not. He probably doesn't know, but the missiles are inbound. Look, there was a TMD there. And he would most likely have died. Another volley inbound. He's going to keep moving. That is unfortunate for Team 2. Sorry, for Team 1's and then it was a lovely attempt at a missile snipe, but I don't know. Again, he doesn't know that was just stroke of the luck that he moved. Comment by Drimmer saying, nope, not going to have that happen. Looks like missiles now targeting stuff. And RNA is defeated by the satellites and the artillery from Drimmer. So while he moved, he was focusing on that. Shielding is starting to be pierced a little bit by the remaining missiles, but RNA said something in something. No idea what that said. Another missile volley inbound. And there's more Team D being built, and that's going to grab the rest of those missiles. So that's going to be the end of that. And Team 2's Drimmer might just turn this game around with just and then being the last surviving player. He's got to get out. You got to teleport out of there. That's why you got to teleport before you fire, because if you don't succeed, especially in this scenario, he will die. And at 1 hour, 7 minutes on the clock, Drimmer turns it from a 3v1 to a 2v1 to a 1v1 and then a 0v1 in his favor. And yeah, he's not getting out of there. And maybe at this point, maybe he felt that Anden was, Anden felt that he was going to not win anyways, but he could have made the attempt, I think. But anyways, 1 hour, 8 minutes on the clock. Definitely an epic game. It was a comeback for Team 2's Drimmer. And that is the MVP, of course. I mean, given the fact, again, it was a 3v1. He went straight for the artillery. The game isn't over yet. There it goes. That was weird. Just took a second, I guess. But 1 hour, 8 minutes on the clock. Team 2 wins the game. Drimmer's MVP. Great, great game by both teams, but just I think Team 2 just hunkered down a little bit too much, and Team 1 just really couldn't pierce the veil. I think maybe if the megaliths were, doubled or tripled upon, instead of sending one and then the other and then the other, then the other, and they sent all three or two of them did, twin movements, maybe it would have been enough to crush the northern side, and that would have weakened the eco even more. This western side, the fact that reclaim, I mean, again, to be fair, the reclaim that Drimmer got, never went into artillery building. He just, and maybe some of it maybe went into Novax's, but it never went into the artillery because those were done before that fight even happened. So he just pumped that into units and called it a day. And then RNA being sniped, definitely not great. And then, of course, Anden followed suit. But lovely game. And it was on a named map, not a map gen map, which again, it's nice to have the variety with the map gen, but it also is nice to have, this is a map that people may know. You kind of know where stuff is. You don't have to worry about, okay, how many mexes are here? I have to go here. What's the, you don't have to, it's less thinking and more focus on strategy. But this map is in that kind of, I don't know how much it's played. But anyway, enough of my ramblings. Hopefully everybody enjoyed. If you did, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, do the comments, all that sort of thing. Really, really, really do appreciate all the time and attention. And again, very lovely game. Really, really glad I was able to cast this one. And I'm just surprised that I found a ladder match with a named map. So there's that. And I will see all of you in the next one.